You must be Lana. It's a pleasure to finally meet you.
We've already met.
I seriously doubt I'd forget meeting you.
You were a little preoccupied at the time.
I get the feeling I didn't make a great first impression.
When I was 10, I went to Metropolis for a riding competition. Your father invited us to stay over. My aunt said you had an indoor pool. So I went to check it out. I found you and a girl skinny dipping. I think you were teaching her the breaststroke.
That was you? Wow. You're all grown up now.
Well, I figured this was supposed to be clever foreshadowing. She already saw him naked getting it on. Now he could teach her a thing or two in the bedroom. Am I right? Okay, I saw an opportunity to make this joke and I thought it was funny. But welcome to another episode of Burst Retrospect. Today we are continuing with the complete series of Smallville with Smallville Season 6.
If there's one man who can help, if there's one man who can help, it's the man coming in here right now.
Season 5 was the final season on the WB, now merged with UPN called the CW. Now with this merger, some shows didn't survive. Luckily, Smallville did. It kept its Thursday night slot at 8 p.m. The ratings had dipped to 4.1 million viewers, probably due to the merger, which is understandable. I'm gonna go ahead and say this now. Season 6 is not one of my favorite seasons. You could say that it ranks very low. However, I'm not gonna lie. This was one of the best written seasons. Ironic, right? Season 6 was nominated for an Emmy Award for the Best Sound Editing in the episode Zod. Smallville received Leo Awards in multiple categories. Makeup artist Natalie Costco was awarded the Leo Award for Best Makeup for her work in the episode Hydro and Wither. We will miss John Snyder as his series arc concluded in the 100th episode. However, we do get two brand new characters that has a recurring role, which I will get into in a bit. There is no Chloe Chronicles this season, but we do get an interactive comic book titled Smallville, Justice and Doom. But let's recap last season. Clark discovers the Fortress of Solitude. The disciples of Zod attempt to eliminate Clark, but he managed to turn the tables on them. During this time, Clark briefly loses his powers while rekindling his relationship with Lana. Chloe vows to keep Clark secret and become his ally in his adventures. The friendship between Lex and Clark reaches a breaking point. Jonathan wins the state senator election, but tragically passes away before taking office. Martha steps in to fill the role. Lionel becomes an unexpected ally to Clark, serving as Jor-El's vessel. Clark breaks up with Lana for her safety, but she finds solace in Lex's arms. Clark faces off against Milton Fine, who tricks Clark into releasing Zod. Fine also unleashes a virus that disrupts technology. Zod ultimately sends Clark to the Phantom Zone, setting the stage for the Season 6 opener, Zod. As Clark looks like a sad puppy as he drifts further away from Earth, he falls into the actual dimension of the Phantom Zone, and he lost his powers. Clark is attacked by phantoms, but is saved by an unknown woman.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Phantom Zone.
Meanwhile, in Metropolis, Lionel saves Chloe from rioters. While on the roof of Lutacorp,
with the powers Fine gave you, you could end the riots. You could save everyone, Lex.
Lex Luthor is dead. My name is Zod.
Lionel and Chloe see Zod fly off with Lana as they were in awe. Lionel figures that Clark failed to stop Zod. Lionel thinks that retrieving the dagger from the farm, he can stop Zod himself. Chloe thinks that Jor-El can help, but Lionel says that his connection to Jor-El is gone.
But if we can get to that dagger, we can stop Zod. We can stop all of this.
I can't make it back to Smallville with my leg like this.
You take care, Miss Sullivan.
You too, Mr. Luther.
Back in the Phantom Zone, the woman waits long enough for Clark to wake up to stomp the hell out of him and interrogates him.
Where?
I was born on Krypton. I was raised on Earth.
Earth? Kal-El?
The woman introduces herself as Raya and she says she knew Jor-El. Back on Earth, Zod and Lana land at a warehouse.
God, you're one of those things from that ship.
Aether and Namek, mere foot soldiers here at my command.
That was the only time in this episode that she tried to run away. You'll see what I mean in a minute. As we expect, Martha and Lois survive the plane crash. While Lois is knocked out, Martha conveniently makes it to the fortress and Jor-El speaks out to her.
What happened to my son, Jor-El?
Banished forever by Zod.
Bring him back. You have to bring him home.
Not within my power. His destiny is now his own. His mission must be completed. Retrieve the dagger and kill Zod's vessel, Lex Luthor.
All right. Send me back.
Back in the Phantom Zone, Raya gives us some exposition.
I may be trapped here, but I'm not one of the prisoners.
Am I supposed to just trust you? I'm running a little low on that lately.
Vicious offenders are condemned for eternity. Their corporeal bodies destroyed, their essence haunting the wasteland.
The Phantoms, like the ones that attacked me.
The crystal your father gave me is the only thing they fear.
How did you know Jor-El?
I was one of his assistants. I wanted to stay with Jor-El in the final hours, but he wouldn't hear of it.
Why didn't he and my mother come with you?
Because he wouldn't stop trying to save Krypton, and your mother wouldn't leave his side.
Clark needs to escape the Phantom Zone to stop Zod. Raya interjects that Zod will kill him. However,
Zod is a soldier. He will kill you.
If there was a way for you to save everyone you loved, wouldn't you risk dying?
You truly are your father's son.
Chloe makes it back to the Daily Planet. Wait a minute. Go back to her previous clip.
I can't make it back to Smallville with my leg like this. I can't make it back to Smallville with my leg like this.
I can't make it back to Smallville with my leg like this.
If you couldn't make it back to Smallville with your leg damage, then why could you take the time to leave the corp and live all the way back to the Daily Planet? Anyway, as she was trying to cross-reference Kryptonian symbols, she didn't hear someone come in. Armed with a gun, she almost shot the new photographer of the Daily Planet, Jimmy Olsen, played by Aaron Ashmore. Back at the mansion, Zod takes the ship's hard drive and restores power, but only to require information.
Pentagon.
There's something there I need.
What are you going to do?
Finish what I've started. The black ship would have sent a pulse around the world, reshaping its crust.
Into what?
Only this time it will be perfect. The start of an empire, ruled by the bloodline of Zod. Its hard drive can still initiate the pulse, but I need access to your military satellites to broadcast it.
I'm not gonna let you do this.
Sit your ass down!
The fate of your race will not be yours if you give me what I want.
What?
An heir. We'll discuss this further when I return from your Pentagon.
Damn, that's got to hurt. Back at the barn, Martha finds the blade right before Lionel came in. Lana comes looking for Clark, and Martha explains the mission without revealing too much.
I have to kill him with this.
You would never get close enough to even use that. But I can.
Sit your ass down!
So Martha, in blind faith, gives Lana the dagger.
Stupid motherfuckers. They got to be the stupidest motherfuckers.
Back in the Phantom Zone, Raya explains to Clark that Jor-El made a failsafe in case one of his family members gets accidentally imprisoned. They are then attacked from a familiar face.
Kal-El.
Namek! Wait! Don't kill him!
Why should I spare his life? The one who sent me here.
He can open the gateway.
Damn. Clark can't trust nobody, huh? Back at the mansion, Zod comes back from the Pentagon. Cool. Wish I could have seen that. As Zod commences his plan, Lana started to commence her own.
Perhaps I've underestimated the females of your species.
Maybe you just underestimated me.
You shouldn't play with things you don't understand.
Well, that's the end of that shit. Back in the Phantom Zone, Riot makes it to the gate where he uses Clark's blood to open it.
I trusted you.
Trust is for the weak.
You're right.
This is all part of Riot's plan to get Clark to the gate. Damn, I'm not gonna lie. That scene was cold. Clark makes it back on Earth and immediately looks for Zod.
Let her go!
Oh damn, Lana is conveniently knocked out again. Clark destroys the ship's hard drive, and Zod takes it well. Clark and Zod fight, but it's pretty one-sided. I can probably assume that he's probably using Lex's pent-up frustration towards Clark over the years. Anyway.
So easily beaten.
I won't let you destroy Earth. Like you did Krypton.
Swear your allegiance to me, and I'll allow the ones you love the most to live. Kneel before Zod. Kneel.
My father sends his regards.
Damn. The music makes this scene so damn epic. I guess it is true. Certain music in certain scenes can make or break a scene. Quick question though. Where in the hell did that crystal come from? He was not standing up for it to be up his sleeve. Did it just appear out of nowhere, like phasing? I always wondered that. Sometime after, Clark goes to check on Lois and Chloe.
Then I'm glad you're back.
Don't worry, Clark. It was the end of the world. It's not like I'm expecting us to hook up.
Lex finds Lana and says that he can't remember anything past the time he was in the field with Milton Fine. How convenient. Clark goes to the barn and tells Martha that he took the crystal to the fortress, but when he's trying to speak to Jarrell, he would not answer, meaning that the fortress is dead. And he reflects on the changes that's been happening.
Everything's changing. Dad's gone. I can't talk to Lex. Lana's... I don't know where to go from here.
The episode concludes with a series of scenes that would set up the season. Lex finds the broken spaceship's hard drive. I also wonder why he didn't find the pieces of the blade from the fortress. He could have made some interesting weapons out of it. Now, even though Lionel said early in the episode that he has no connection to Jarrell anymore, however, he is then seen writing a Kryptonian symbol for power. In Argentina, it is revealed that the Phantoms escaped the Phantom Zone along with Clark. This episode was a decent opening. Kind of wish Clark and Zod's battle would have drawn out more, but it was good for what it was. This episode could have been 2 episodes long if you ask me. Funny thing I did when I first watched this episode after it aired, I looked when Clark returned from the Phantom Zone, and me and my brother counted 8, including Clark, that busted out. What terrors will that bring? We will just have to find out. Sneeze begins with a news article dubbing what happened when Zod almost destroyed Earth, Dark Thursday. Clark puts himself into overdrive as he's been out several nights cleaning up Metropolis.
You can't single-handedly rebuild everything that's been destroyed.
It's my mess, Mom. I need to clean it up.
You're not responsible for what happened. Zod is.
Zod would not have been released if for once in my life I'd listened to Jor-El and done what he asked me to do.
There she go, coddling him again. As Clark fixes things in the barn, he then sneezes. So after 68 episodes, Clark has a new power, super breath. Clark and Martha thinks that while in the Phantom Zone, he could have been exposed to something in there. As Met-U closes for the rest of the semester due to Dark Thursday, Lana moves in with Lex for the time being. Oh, small spoiler. Lana never returns to Met-U. Talk about money wasted. Lex looks out his rearview mirror and he sees that he's being followed, and he doesn't tell Lana at all. Clark goes to Chloe to tell him about his new ability.
Nothing with you is exactly normal, but I wouldn't call sneezing today's headline.
You don't understand. I was...
You what? Grab a tissue and get over it.
At the mansion, Lex hired a PI to find out who's following him. Lex warned Lana to call the PI in case something happens. Lex goes to loot the court to blame Lionel yet again.
If I were having you followed, son, you would never know it. I can guarantee you that.
When Lex leaves, he is then abducted. Lionel figures this out and goes to Clark for help.
I have to find him, Clark.
Why? Lex and I have nothing to do with each other anymore.
But you and Zod do. Lex insists he can't remember anything that happened when he was possessed by Zod, but he might not be honest about it. He might remember it all. Whoever his captors are, if they put enough pressure on him, he could tell the truth about you.
Well, there's one way to guilt Clark to do something. Then there it is. Lex is then interrogated by his kidnappers.
I told you I don't remember any of it happening.
Lex truly don't remembers. However, the answer he gave did not sit well with them.
Please, no. No.
Clark goes to see Lex and finds Lana.
Lana? What are you doing here? Lex has gone missing, Lana. I think he may have been kidnapped.
Oh, God.
Lana, if you have any information that might be able to help me find him.
I don't understand, Clark. Why are you the leader of this search party?
Lana, no matter what my differences are with Lex, I don't want to see him get hurt.
Clark, how did you know that Lex was going to be transformed into that monster before anyone else?
I just want to help find Lex.
Then do it. Don't pretend you're doing it for him.
Damn. She really hates Clark now, huh? As he was leaving, he used his super hearing to overhear the call to Lex's PI. Lana looks through the security footage and finds cameras of her getting undressed. Now, I may be an idiot. Well, I may look like an idiot, but why wouldn't she get undressed in the bathroom is beyond me. You're in a house of a stranger. Well, not a stranger, but, you know, that's your first time being a roommate to your rebound boyfriend, and y'all sleep in different rooms, and you see he has cameras all over the damn house, and you choose to get undressed in the bedroom area. Anyway, she gets the address where the PI found and stupidly goes out. Also, she calls Chloe on what she was doing before getting kidnapped herself. Lana goes and greets a new rich guy in town, Oliver Queen. Lana exposits that Oliver and Lex had a peculiar history. He also mentions that Lex was kidnapped.
He's been abducted. My God.
What? Spoiler alert, Oliver was the one that kidnapped him. I don't know if this was intentional or it was just bad acting. Lionel subtly threatens Oliver as he leaves out. Clark and Chloe find the PI's address and find a hidden room. Clark's strength is on the fritz, but Chloe suggests that he blows the door down.
It's not funny.
I'm not kidding. Clark, with a sneeze like yours, that says a lot about your lung capacity. Now just take a really deep breath and blow it out as hard as you can.
Chloe gets Lana's voicemail and Clark heads out with the address. Lana and Lex break free and fight out the kidnappers, but a fire has started. As Lex apologizes for getting Lana into the situation, Clark uses his new ability to extinguish the fire. We do get an interesting subplot of Lois finally getting to her destiny as a reporter. Lana confronts Lex about the cameras.
Lex, the cameras go where I do.
The camera in your room will be down within the hour. But the rest of them stay.
One of the kidnappers gives Oliver the information that whatever powers Lex has is now gone. He also mentioned that he saw Clark there using his abilities and is instructed to find him. Wither is a filler episode. Chloe and Jimmy investigate a series of disappearances throughout Smallville. It is revealed that one of the phantoms from the Phantom Zone is behind everything, and she goes by the name of Gloria, and she impersonated a park ranger. Chloe figures out Gloria's weakness, and it was electricity, which breaks plant enzymes or some crap, and gives Clark that information to kill Gloria. Meanwhile, Lana is not sure about being Lex's girlfriend due to the tabloids calling her the next Lex girl. But at a fundraiser party, she came around in many ways. Oh, I forgot to mention last time, Lana was extremely horny. Lois screws up Martha's donation for Oliver Queen, and to fix things, she goes on a date with Oliver. By the end of the episode, she's glad that she did go on a date with him, setting up for the next episode, Arrow. The episode begins with a charity event. Lionel, Martha, Oliver, and Lois attend. It was interrupted by a hooded vigilante and steals a necklace off Martha's neck that Lionel let her borrow for the event. Lois tried to stop him, but he gets away. But not before she grabs the necklace that he was wearing. Clark hears of this and meets Oliver for the first time.
You must be Oliver Queen. Yeah.
Oliver tells Clark that there were more than dozens of billionaires that were robbed the same way, but finds it odd that they didn't report it. While Lois gets Chloe's help, the vigilante knocks them out with sleeping gas and takes the ring back. It's revealed that Oliver is the vigilante. Lana visits Lionel for the first time since the episode Zod.
Sit down. Was obsessed with a piece of alien technology infinitely too dangerous for any of us to comprehend.
Mr. Luther, this is all behind us now.
Well, it's obvious that any trust you have for me only works in times of crisis. But we both know, Miss Lang, that the crisis is far from over. Lex salvaged that piece of technology.
Why do you think I moved into the mansion?
Please tell me.
Mr. Luther, I care about Lex. But part of being with him is protecting Lex from himself.
Why?
What? What the fuck? Fuck you.
However, Lionel feels that it's not enough. And if not checked, the world may not recover this time. Which in turn, Lionel wants to destroy the box. Lois names a vigilante known as the Green Arrow Bandit. Oliver, being worried about Lois, tried to sway her from the story and keep her out of danger. Clark meets with Lionel and gets a lead of the next person that the Green Arrow can hit. That night, Oliver showcases his skills to get to his next target. Clark shows up and the two fight, if you want to call it that. Oliver uses the diversion and gets away. Clark feels a little flustered by the Green Arrow. Meanwhile, Lois is kidnapped by some thugs, obviously looking for the Green Arrow. Clark investigates Lois' apartment and runs into Oliver. Oliver tells Clark that those items were bought off the black market, and Clark also thinks that Lionel could have taken Lois. Oliver asks that it could have been anyone that could be looking for the Green Arrow and that could use Lois as bait. Chloe sends Clark a text, and it was that of a family crest. Clark says he's seen it before and goes to Oliver's loft. He then puts together that Oliver and the Green Arrow are one and the same. The thugs tortured Lois, and the guy behind her abduction is the man in charge of the security company of the clients that had the item stole. He wants Lois's help due to her splashing his vulnerability of his company to the front page. Lois says that she doesn't know anything, which they believe her. But they're going to kill her anyway. Oliver shows up and saves Lois. As Lois wakes up, she gets the drop on Oliver and almost unmasks him until Clark intervenes. And now we get one of the most coldest scenes in television history. And I can't believe it's almost been 20 years. And now I get to express how I feel about it. Just look how unbothered Clark is while also asserting the situation.
Oliver Queen, you owe me one.
That was you on the roof? Why'd you let me get away?
Not sure Lois would understand why her new boyfriend leads a double life.
Or why one of her best friends does the same thing? I think we're even.
We'll be even when you return what you stole from Lionel.
And he walked off like a boss! Now I go back to this scene for a couple of reasons. One is to look how badass Clark walks away. And two, I need to remind myself on how Clark would assert a situation. Meanwhile, while walking off like a boss, as soon as you assert yourself. I just can't get over how cold this scene is. Like, I don't know why is it not talked about enough. Let's move on. Later on, Clark deletes Chloe's files about the Green Arrow.
It's funny, so did I. All my files on the ring are gone, including the backup files. Clark?
Just don't look into him, Chloe.
You know who he is, don't you?
As a favor to me, please don't.
And he knows who you are. Well, I guess there's some sort of secret code of honor among superheroes.
Sometime after that, Lois vowed that she will find out who the Green Arrow is no matter what. That night at the barn, Oliver visits Clark and returns to steal the necklace to him.
For the record, Lionel bought that off a notorious Bosnian warlord. Used it to launder Luther Corp money.
So why give it to me?
Well, you seem to have a crystal clear idea of what's right and what's wrong. You decide who it belongs to.
It's not as clear as it used to be. You really think it's right to steal as long as it goes to a good cause?
That the end justifies the means? Absolutely yes.
I'll never feel that way. Said you didn't owe me one. So why are you really here?
Clark, you have abilities I couldn't even dream of. And I admire that you use them to save the people you're close to.
But
there's a whole world of people out there, Clark. They need us. With your potential, you can't wait for them to come to you. And you're ready to do something about that. You let me know.
Damn. More on this in the character portion. The subplot follows Lex and Lana showing the hard drive from the ship since the previous episodes. Lex put Lana through another test, which Lionel was fully aware of. Lana is now convinced that studying the box will hopefully save them from another alien invasion. The next episode, Reunion, while filler, it has neat backstories on Lex and Oliver. They both attended the same prep school. Lex was friends with a much poverty-stricken child, Duncan Allemeyer. Oliver bullied them both until they both had the opportunity to get Oliver and his gang expelled, but Lex turned on Duncan just to get the respect in school. When Duncan tried to go and tell on him, well, this happened.
Get him, Lionel! Yeah, get him, Lionel! Why do you have to be such a loser? Why can't you be like everybody? Duncan, get away from me! You want to be one of them so badly, Lex? Is that it? You can't stand being a loser like me? Well, congratulations, buddy. Now you're their friend. And you can... Duncan!
Damn. That's just sad. I resonated with this because I was also bullied in my 5th grade year all the way up to my 7th grade year and some parts of high school for some odd reason. I don't know. There was like a pause of the bullying in 8th grade, and then it resumed between 9th to 10th grade, and then it slowed down again from 11th to 12th. I don't know. That's a whole nother story for another day. But anyway, I would never turn on my friend if all we had was each other to look out for. But unfortunately, my friends were all in classes together while I was in the class with the assholes. I don't mean to digress, but writing this just brought back some memories that I want to bury. Anyway, it was revealed that Lana was treating Duncan all this time, which one of the treatments were laced with kryptonite, giving Duncan the powers of astral projection. Duncan managed to kill 2 of the bullies, but was stopped by Clark from killing Oliver and Lex. Meanwhile, Chloe discovered several incidents around the world of unexplained phenomena. Her and Clark figured that there are more zoners that escape from the Phantom Zone along with Clark. The only way to find out is that we get images from the only working satellites from Dark Thursday. So with Oliver's help, Chloe was able to get those images. One image Clark recognized. The next episode, Fallout, features a familiar face. Oh yeah, Bow Wow guest stars. So many weeks ago on Dark Thursday, wait, there was a worldwide disaster going on and Bow Wow decided to play basketball. You know, I will try to give this a pass and say that this is unintentional racism, but I digress again. Anyway, Bow Wow. Okay, let me go off again. His name was never mentioned.
What the fuck? I'm gonna get my gun.
Let's continue. Bow Wow sees that one of the Phantoms land and he stupidly goes off. You know, I figured this part was written for a Caucasian man, but Bow Wow was the only one auditioned and they added the scene where he was playing basketball. So this probably was intentional racism. Damn. Anyway, Bow Wow was taken over by the Phantom.
Yo, some creepy, man.
That was some creepy, man.
Now, since he was taken over, I can actually introduce the character he plays proper. This is Baron. He has the power of energy projection and super speed. Anyway, he heads towards Smallville looking for Clark. Late night in Metropolis, Lana meets with the scientist Dr. Grove from the previous episodes. He hands her all the research and wants to get as far away from Lex as possible. He also suggested for her to do the same. Unbeknownst to them, they were being watched by Jimmy from afar. Chloe shows Clark what happened in Oakland, California when Baron emerged. He started to drain the power out of major power plants, forming a straight line towards Clark. And he asked Chloe to go research more. And then...
Raya.
Hello, Kal-El.
I was afraid I'd never see you again. Sorry, I didn't want to leave you in the Phantom Zone.
You had no choice. It's okay, Kal-El. And if it wasn't for you, I would have never escaped. I would have never seen all this. It's more beautiful than the world your father described.
How'd you find me?
Your father told me about the family he had chosen for you. About Smallville. It must have been hard growing up here by yourself.
I had my parents, I had my friends.
But no one who really understood you.
What was it like to grow up with such a big secret?
And the amazing rush of racing trains, knowing nothing can hurt you.
I used to try to pretend not to notice. But sometimes I would catch my dad watching me when I'd pick something up that was impossible for him to even move. No matter how I think I fit in, every day I'm reminded I'm not one of them.
You're not alone anymore. I'm here.
More on this towards the end of this episode. Jamie shows Chloe on what he found, that he unknowingly saw Lana and Dr. Grove interacting. Chloe, for once, warns him about getting involved with the Luthers, which makes Jimmy upset. Chloe unknowingly runs into Baron, and I swear to God that she's suspiciously taller than him. Anyway, Baron uses the planet's archives to find Clark. Against Chloe's wishes, Jimmy goes to see Lex anyway and confronts him. He also takes secret photos of the spaceship's hard drive. Unknowingly, that is. Lex confronts Lana about the box and asks for it back nicely, shock of all shockers. Now back to the best part of the episode. Clark and Raya race around Smallville to have a little fun. Clark asks Raya what was Jor-El like.
Brave. Strong. With the biggest heart of anyone I've ever known.
Clark says he hasn't been the best son. Raya replies that Clark needs to save Earth from itself. But Clark says that the fortress is damaged. However, Raya doesn't want to hear it.
Fortress is damaged. Jor-El tried to warn me, but I didn't listen. I mean, how could I trust someone who brought so much pain into my life?
Pain is a part of anyone's journey, Kal-El. You can't escape it. You must accept your destiny.
Then we get one of the most cringe-inducing scenes that I ever witnessed. And I'm talking about when this first aired. I was literally laughing out loud. But take a look.
The last son of Krypton.
You're the one who's been coming for me.
And I think it will be worth the trip. What's the matter, Raya? Don't recognize an old friend? It's me.
Baron.
What do you want?
To pay back your old man. For giving me a one-way ticket to hell. But then he had to go and get himself eviscerated. Along with everyone else from that ice cube you call a planet. So I guess you'll have to do.
Looking at the Instagram post that Bow Wow posted a few years ago saying that he kicked Superman's ass, I commented and laughed and said, no, you didn't. But when I tried to go find the post for context, it was gone. How convenient. But anyway, Clark wanted to know how Baron knew that he was still alive. Raya says that while in the Phantom Zone, there were myths and stories that Clark was out there and alive. There was hope for others, but some were bent on revenge. Who were these ones that had hope? Were they good people that were wrongfully imprisoned? Or they were just as bad but had been rehabilitated? Anyway, Raya goes on and says that Baron's race feeds off radioactive energy, and he will be looking for more. The only thing that can stop him is the crystal that stopped Zod. Jimmy shows the pictures of the hard drive to Chloe, which conveniently Clark and Raya show up at the Daily Planet.
Chloe, this is Raya.
Oh, Raya, wow. It's nice to know something good finally came out of the Phantom Zone.
Chloe, this is what Zod was going to use to wipe out the Earth. Where'd you get this?
Jimmy took it. It was on Lex's desk.
I thought I destroyed it.
I know this design. It's part of the Brain Interactive construct.
What?
Brainiac. This box is its power core. A Kryptonian energy source exponentially stronger than anything here on Earth.
Baron.
If he gets a hold of this, it'll give him enough power to fuel him indefinitely. And kill us both.
At the mansion, Lana gives back the hard drive to Lex and gives him an ultimatum. The hard drive or her. Baron attacks them both and exhorts the power of the hard drive, turning it into ash. As Lex gets checked out at the hospital, he believed that Lana could have orchestrated this.
Do you think that I'd actually be involved in something like this? That I'd let you get hurt?
No. Of course not.
Okay, he didn't have to say, but you can look at it in his face. Anyway, Clark came to visit to see that Lex is okay. Wait a minute. Why Raya didn't come with him? You think this would have been an awkward moment for Lana and Lex to see Clark with another woman. Also, I think Raya would have read Lex right off the bat of what kind of person he is. And it would have been nice to Lana, but kind of shady at the same time. I also think Lana would have felt some kind of way that she could tell that Clark shared everything with Raya. But this is just an assumption. At the fortress, Raya sends a signal to Baron and he came running. Baron attacks and mortally wounds Raya. Clark uses the Phantom Zone crystal to rip Baron from the host. Afterward, Clark comforts Raya.
Raya.
The crystal. It has enough power now. Restore the fortress.
You can't leave me. Not now.
I'm sorry. I couldn't share in your destiny.
At the mansion, Lex tells Lana that he would have chosen her instead of the box, but now they will never know. Clark takes Bow Wow to the hospital and fills the end of what happened.
The last thing I remember was, I was playing ball with my boy Yance, and after that, Nothing. Am I supposed to know you?
No. My name's Clark Kent. We found you unconscious, and I didn't know what else to do, so I brought you here.
I get the feeling I've got you to thank for that, man. Kansas, huh?
Kansas.
Later on, Clark feels down about losing Raya. However,
when I was with Raya, I didn't feel alone anymore.
Clark.
Mom, I know how much you love me and how much Dad. But I've always felt different. It's because I am. And Raya was the first person I ever met who could really understand that. And I don't think I ever really thought about what I'd lost. A family, a whole race of people who were just like me. For the first time, I'm ready to stop running from who I really am. From my destiny.
You're training with Jor-El. You want to go.
But I can't. Not yet. Not until every prisoner that I release from the Phantom Zone is returned. Or destroyed.
this was a powerful scene, and this is a precursor to Clark to make boss moves to become the hero he is meant to be. Rage is a filler episode that centers on Oliver. While out on patrol, Oliver was shot, but takes an experimental drug that instantly heals him from any fatal wound, but it came with its own side effects of violence. He almost killed Lex until Clark saved him with the same drug. Meanwhile, Lana has not been feeling well these past couple days. Towards the end of the episode, it has been revealed.
I'm pregnant.
What the Oh shit. Nasty bitch. Stinking ass bitch.
Back then, I was shocked, but now I just want to laugh. All that money you got, Lex, and you couldn't afford a goddamn condom? Lana, you couldn't afford a dental dab or some goddamn birth control? Also, this serves as the only Thanksgiving episode in the entire series. Static follows Lex being trapped in a static dimension by a man named Bronson. Bronson is a meteor freak that can move himself and others to alternate planes of existence. He tried to convince Lana that he was part of an experiment of Luthor called 33.1. Wow, looks like the Vengeance Chronicles was hitting towards his last season. Anyway, Bronson brings Lana to where 33.1 was being held, but it was all moved by Lana to cover up Lex's deeds. Jimmy, Chloe, and Lana help to get Lex out of Bronson's frequency. Lex fights off Bronson and conveniently kills him. Lana reveals to Lex that she's pregnant with his baby. I'm sorry, but this is still funny. At the end of the episode, Lex asks Lana to marry him. This episode also follows Clark going to Seattle to confront another zoner that eats human skeleton and bone marrow like it's Golden Corral. Clark had trouble defeating the Phantom until it was killed by another alien that is on Clark's side. Subterranean is completely, and I mean completely, filler. Clark befriends an illegal immigrant, Javier. Okay, why does Javier look so familiar? Anyway, an old friend of the family, Jed McNally, that has the power of geokinesis to silence slave laborers that try to leave. Clark stops him and reunites Javier with his mother. We do get one story element, and I mean one story element. We find out that McNally was part of Lex's experiments of 33.1. We move on with the story with the episode Hydro. Linda Lake, the top reporter at Daily Planet, has the power to turn herself into water. She uses this power to eavesdrop on any conversation, which brings us to the plot of the episode. Lana tells Chloe that Lex proposed to her and she hasn't given him an answer yet.
When I actually heard those words, there was something that wouldn't let me say yes.
Something like Clark?
When I was with Clark, I would have said yes without hesitating.
The next day, Lana and Chloe's conversation is splattered all over the Daily Planet. Instead of Clark reading the paper, Chloe just tells Clark.
I know better. I know better. I tried so hard to let Lana go that...
Damn. It's a bummer, but Clark been without Lana this long, you would think he would got over it. Right? Right?
If she marries Lex, there's no going back. Is it true?
I would double down on the fact that Lana's still in love with you.
I can't let her do this.
Oh, Clark, wait a minute. It's a lot more complicated now.
What could be more complicated than living your life with regrets?
Oh my God. I'll say this for the character portion because god damn. And this is only the start. If you know, you know. Anyway, at the mansion, Lex makes Lana breakfast in bed only to ambush her with the article. God damn. Talk about petty.
When I was with Clark, I would have said yes without hesitating. You know, the worst part of waiting was dwelling on all the reasons why you might be stalling.
Clark came to see Lana, but Lex intercepted.
I'll come back later.
So you really think you can convince her? You think you can talk her out of making the biggest mistake of her life by marrying me?
We both know that you swept in after
you crushed her?
You knew she was vulnerable, and you played her until she thought she was in love with you.
If you really see Lana as that naive, you obviously don't think as much of her as I do.
It must be eating at you that she's hesitating, wondering why she hasn't given you an answer.
Clark is eating this up, and he's right. Lana would have not been in with Lex if she wasn't vulnerable from last season. Clark was on Lex's ass until...
I highly doubt she'll say no, Clark. Now that she's carrying my child.
Damn, Lex, did you fall out of bed with pettiness this morning? Anyway, Jimmy brings Chloe an article about a dead baseball player that Linda Lake exposed, but he doesn't think that it was due to suicide. Jimmy is on to something since Linda did murder said baseball player at the beginning of the episode. The subplot of this episode actually is in conjunction with the main plot of this episode, surprisingly. Lois obtained some photos of the Green Arrow from Jimmy and saw that Oliver's arm was cut the exact same way the Green Arrow was in the picture, meaning she's on to Oliver that he is the Green Arrow, so she enlists Clark for help. While he tries to throw Lois off Oliver's trail, he is caught by Chloe. Clark gets on to Chloe about her knowing that Lana was pregnant the entire time, and Chloe rebuttals.
Say that I think it is incredibly unfair that everyone trusts me to keep their secrets and then they turn around and they throw me attitude for keeping someone else's secret. Look, I'm sorry that I had to take a 2-second breather from hiding the fact that you are an alien from another planet to protect someone else for a change. God!
Damn, that was oddly specific to say, because Linda was actually listening the whole time. Anyway, Lana accuses Chloe of how their conversation got out, but Chloe responded that it wasn't her, which Lana gives Chloe the benefit of the doubt, which shows character development because season 1 Chloe would have been told everyone's secret. And for Lana to believe Chloe like that shows that Chloe's character has grown, so kudos to the writers for this episode. Anyway, Chloe wants to turn the tables on Linda and she enlists Lana's help. Meanwhile, Lois stages a robbery, which turns into a real robbery to lure Oliver out as the Green Arrow. The Green Arrow did show up, however...
That's a hell of a thank you.
So let's back up a bit. Clark off-screen told Oliver that Lois was on to him, so they staged this ruse to convince Lois that Oliver wasn't the Green Arrow. Lana and Chloe tell her to recon to take Lena down. However, Chloe sees an article that Lena knows Clark is an alien. Before she could publish it, Chloe destroys the laptop. Damn. Thank God the cloud did not exist back then. Anyway, Lena tried to kill Chloe but was accidentally ran over by Lana. The day is saved and Lena is stopped, but she will return. Back to the subplot, Chloe being funny lets Lois tell the tale of her kiss with the Green Arrow.
Well, he was holding me in his arms. And Ollie's a good kisser, don't get me wrong. But that Green Arrow, he could teach Ollie a thing or two.
Back at the planet, Lana now knows that Clark is hiding something and confronts Chloe about it. Later, Lana visits Clark.
As messed up as it is, you were the first person that I wanted to tell.
That is the most disturbing, disrespectful, and disgusting thing that you could ever tell an ex. Clark reveals that he knows about the baby and hopes that Lex makes her happy. The episode ends with Lana accepting Lex's proposal. Now we continue with a special episode titled Justice. It begins with Chloe investigating more into 33.1, but the informant tried to kill her, but is saved.
Just in the nick of time, as always.
It wasn't me. He was already down when I got here.
What? If it wasn't you, then...
Still too slow, Stretch. Bart.
Yes, Bart has returned. At the barn, Chloe and informant got out of jail thanks to Lex's doing. Bart shows up and tells Clark that he's going on straight and narrow. Meanwhile, Lois airs out her frustrations on Oliver leaving during dates. Oliver responds with a vacation to Monte Carlo. At the mansion, Lionel warns Lex about the Luthor facilities that's been hit that's connected to 33.1. Lex shows Lionel a photo of someone moving at the speed of light. As they both leave, Bart comes in and steals more information about 33.1 and meets up with Oliver, meaning Bart is working for him. At Luthor, Lionel warns Clark that he should be more careful as he shows the photo. Clark figures out that it was Bart and he goes back to the farm to grill Bart. However, Bart cannot say what he's doing and super speeds away. Clark enlists Chloe's help by revealing Bart's secret. Chloe tracks Bart's claws and finds out that he's been working for Oliver. Bart brings him to another facility, but this time he was caught by Lex. Later, Lex recognizes Bart from 2 years ago and he knows that Bart is working for someone. To get him to talk, Lex activates a pressure plate, and if Bart stops moving, he will die. Clark confronts Oliver about Bart working for him. Oliver then reveals that Lex is developing an army of superpowered soldiers and wants to start a war. Clark deduces that Lex has Bart and wants to find him.
My team's already on it.
Your team.
Not everybody flies solo, Kent.
Damn. This is just as epic as I first saw it when it came on TV. Like I said last season, Victor and AC have returned. Oliver finds new facilities all over Metropolis and it will be hard to find Bart. Clark gets Chloe to narrow it down in a place called the Ridge Facility. Clark goes after Bart alone, and when he gets there, he is weakened by kryptonite. How convenient. Oliver gets wind of this and heads out with Victor and AC. They make it to the Ridge Facility. Once inside, Victor and AC was getting a separate mission outside of saving Bart. Oliver saves Clark from the kryptonite and gives them the location of finding Bart. Oliver runs into Lex again.
You remember? I'm touched.
Oh, it's a little hard to forget. Last time we met, you put an arrow in my chest.
You put a bullet in mine. Bygones?
Go to hell.
You first.
Clark saves Bart and they all reconvene with Oliver. Oliver wants to blow the facility sky high. Clark is skeptical, but then he agrees. We didn't get this epic scene. Sometime later, Lex tells Lionel that while the security footage was destroyed, most of the guards could ID Clark, but Lionel covers for Clark.
Clark? Impossible.
A word that always seems to pop up when talking about him, doesn't it?
Lex, it was not Clark.
How can you be so sure?
Because I was having dinner with him last night when all this happened. Martha made pot roast with new potatoes and tiny little baby carrots. It was delicious. Clark had 3 helpings. Don't worry, son. You still have plenty of enemies out there plotting your downfall.
At Oliver's loft, Lois shows up ready to go, but Oliver has some bad news.
I have to go away on business.
Damn. You didn't think to just call and tell her so she could have saved herself the trouble? Oliver says that he will not be back, so this counts as a breakup between the two, and they share one last kiss. Back at the barn, the separate mission was revealed that Lex is setting up 33.1 facilities across the globe, and they are ready to leave out. They all want Clark to come with them, but he has to stay behind to stop the zoners.
This isn't the end of the story, Clark. This is just the beginning. Chloe? Come on, boys. Let's go save the world.
This is the last scene we see Oliver for the rest of the season. And let's get this out of the way now. Like the others, Oliver Queen will return.
You know you have some pretty amazing friends, Clark Kent.
Yeah, I do.
We do get a nice follow-up with the next episode, Labyrinth. Clark is attacked in his barn, and he wakes up in a mental institution.
What's going on?
Well, you said that you and your dog were in the barn when you heard something. And then you left us for a bit.
How'd I get here?
So, what attacked you? Was it a crypto freak again?
No, I know. It was a spirit from the Phantom Zone, right, Kal-El?
How do you know that name?
Because you never shut up about it. Oh, great son of Jarrell.
Settle down, John.
You know, I'm no expert, but out of all mental institutions, you would think that the patients would be more empathetic or worried about their own mental health rather than making fun of someone else. Clark is subdued due to the fact that he doesn't have any powers. The head doctor of the institution, Hudson, tells Clark that the past 5 years, he's been in the hospital being treated for his paranoid delusions. That everything Clark had experienced was all in his head. Of course, Clark doesn't believe it and stands firm that he knows who he is. Sometime later, a mysterious man tells Clark that he believes him, but was cut off by the hospital's security. Clark sees an opportunity to break out and heads to Smallville. He gets to the barn and he is greeted by someone unexpected.
Clark, you're home. I can't believe it.
Lana explains that after Jonathan died, Martha sold the farm to Lana and she moved in waiting for the day Clark comes home. Clark reveals that he broke out and ran off to the mansion. He finds Martha and he finds out that Lionel was the one that put Clark in the mental hospital. And also, Martha is now married to Lionel. Security comes in and tries to subdue Clark, but surprisingly, Clark had enough strength to fight them off and escape. He was almost caught outside the mansion until Chloe comes to his aid. Chloe fills him in that the Lucers are trying to shut them up and want to lay low until Clark gets his powers back. Clark wants to confront Lex, but it was ill-advised from Chloe. But we all know right now, Clark will go to the Lion's Den to get to the bottom of things.
All right, fine. Since your super speed's out of gas, take my Yaris. Be careful.
Damn. That was oddly Pacific again. They must have promoted that car when this episode first aired. Clark goes to Luthor Corp and confronts Lex.
You may have taken my powers, Lex, but I'm not afraid of you. And I won't let you ruin my life.
Your life? I think you have that a little backwards. Did you forget our little run-in on the low bridge 5 years ago?
When you save someone's life, you tend to remember.
You really think you saved me? Well then, let me refresh your memory.
left the gate open.
Is that what happened?
If it was up to me, you'd be rotting in jail. But my father insisted you go to that mental hospital instead. Anything to impress Martha Kent with his kindness. This is a trick. It's a trick! Really? Open your eyes, you crazy son of a bitch! Does this look like a trick to you?
Damn. That's just sad. Well, at least we know that he can't physically hurt anyone. Clark goes back to the Talon, which is now abandoned. Lana shows up and shows him a fake ring that Clark gave her when they were 10 years old.
And when you put it on my finger and kissed me for the first time, that's when you stole my heart.
I know what's going on. But Chloe does. She knows who I am.
Clark goes to see Chloe and to say that none of this makes any sense. Lana comes in and tells that Chloe was in the mental hospital along with Clark, but she escaped. Clark is conflicted and tried to get Chloe to talk about what's going on to make sense of it, but Lionel's security shows up. Chloe takes out her gun, but before she could do it, she was shot dead. Sometime later, Clark is back at the hospital in disbelief that Chloe is dead. Hudson shows Clark that everything that Clark had experienced was a reality that he put together to where he felt the most safe and secure. Hudson says that Clark can be normal again once he goes through a procedure. While in his room, he is then talked to by the same man and is revealed that this time that Hudson is a phantom and is slowly taking over Clark's mind. In order for Clark to escape, he must kill Hudson. Before the procedure, Lana talks to him again, saying that once the treatment is done, they can be together, which Clark feels that he wants her to be real. During the procedure, when he sees Lana, she disappears, and he hears his dog Shelby, and he figures out that he is still in the barn. He breaks free and proceeded to kill Hudson. Hudson revealed his phantom nature and is captured by the man who was talking to Clark. It is revealed that he was the alien that killed the other phantom in Seattle. As Clark hears Chloe, the man flies away. Clark talks with Chloe on what happened, and he noticed two things. One, he's still in love with Lana, and Chloe always believed in him. The episode ends with Clark telling Lana that he had a dream of him giving her the wedding ring, and also being cordial with Lex. And to be honest, this scene felt really cringy to me. I don't know why, but it just does. This episode was amazing. I believe it's one of the best in the entire series. It showed how Tom Welling can act outside his superhero persona. We get to see Clark in a new light, and that is of a crazy mental patient that has been institutionalized for the past 5 years. We as an audience know that Clark is not crazy, but for a moment, just a moment, I was like, well, maybe he is kind of crazy, you know? I don't know how to explain it, but the way I would have done this episode is that it would have been easier is that to present a fantasy that he's not crazy and he has everything he always wanted, being married to Lana while having Lex as a loyal friend. This would have had Clark conflicted more and could have almost, and I mean almost, like at the tipping point to giving in until he came to his senses and played tug of war with his mind. The eerie music that played throughout the episode made it look like every time Clark was buying the whole fantasy, the music plays indicating that Hudson was getting closer and closer to fully taking over Clark's mind. Now, it was stated that if Clark was human, his mind would have been taken over. Hudson's plan was to take Clark's mind, unite the other phantoms, and enslave humanity, which is a good plan, but he didn't count on Shelby or the new alien to aid Clark. Now, inside of Clark's mind took at least a day or two, but outside it was only mere moments. Overall, this episode was great, 10 out of 10. Now, if a zoner like Hudson has that kind of power, then we can only imagine how powerful the rest of the zoners may be.